my taste in fragrance has elevated. Honestly, I don't think it was ever low, but I definitely was in the habit of just buying fragrance to buy fragrance, okay? Definitely getting into that habit and into that cycle of, oh, this is a trending fragrance and it's budget friendly, so I guess I'll buy it. And I honestly ended up with a lot of fragrances that aren't up to the standard that I have now. There are a number of fragrances and specific smells or perfumes that are associated with, we're gonna say, wealth or the elite group, or, you know, just that leveled up fragrance feeling, okay? There's a number of fragrances that are associated with that, right? Like Baccarat Rouge 540. That's like the one, right? And while none of these fragrances are the same, okay, there's countless fragrances that sort of land in that category of elite. None of them are really the same, but they all have a number of qualities or elements about them that I believe really make them to that elite standard. And so in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some of those characteristics, about 5 characteristics of elite or wealthy smelling fragrances. So characteristic number 1 is simplicity, okay? This is like so basic, but I think that it's really easy to get away with it or get ahead of ourselves when it comes to fragrance. We oftentimes associate complexity with wealth or luxury, okay? We associate this like, oh, if there's a lot going on, or if we have a lot in there, then that means that we must have a lot, right? Like that's how we associate. That's what we think. It's sort of that the more the better kind of feeling, right? If you have more, that must mean that you are wealthy, right? If there's more in there, then that must mean that it's a wealthy smelling fragrance. In fact, the exact opposite is true. A lot of times, you know, whether it is in fragrance, in your home, in your fashion, whatever it is, in order to sort of embody that wealthier style or that more successful style or an elite style or feeling, okay, we're going to say that feeling. We're all about feeling here. In order to, like, when you observe those things, when you observe that style, it's very simple, okay? There's very simple, standard, basic elements to that style, to that feeling. And so simplicity is key in these very wealthy or elite smelling fragrances. And you'll see that in the fact that there's, you know, very simple fragrance builds, right? Like there might be 9 fragrance notes as opposed to, you know, 15 or 20 that you see in a lot of the more budget-friendly perfumes. The second characteristic is uniqueness, okay? They have to be unique. And I think that this comes from, you know, it comes from the imagination of the perfumer, okay? You are not dealing with fragrances that are trying to be another fragrance. You're not dealing with dupes. You're not dealing with fragrances where it's like, oh, well, I smelled this and I wanted to smell like that, so I tried to sort of like mastermind it and I came up with something that smells right. Like, we're not dealing with dupes. We're dealing with artisan perfumers. We're dealing with perfumers where it's like, I sort of just dreamt this up. I had this idea or this feeling or this, you know, something inspired me and I wanted to create a smell to emulate that or to create this sensation or create this environment and this mood, and this is what I developed, okay? And so what you are dealing with is very unique creations, very unique products that they are like in a league of their own, okay? They don't smell like anything else on the market, and they're not trying to be anything else on the market. And so this could be that there are very unique fragrance notes in them, right? Like, oh yeah, well, we went and we got leaves from the Amazon, and that's, right? Like, there's that element where you are using very unique fragrance notes, or it's just the fragrance build in and of itself, right? The fragrance, like what the end product is unique, okay? And so uniqueness is key in order to be this elite or wealthy smelling fragrance, because what you'll notice is that a lot of times when you smell somebody who, you know, is sort of, they have a more leveled up lifestyle, they don't smell like anybody else, okay? They smell like them. They smell like them, and they everything is very like crafted and curated, and this is me, right? I developed my style, and I've developed my fragrance, and this is right. And so they don't smell like anybody else. They don't smell like your typical perfume, your typical fragrance. Their home might not smell like your typical place. And so unique is key. Characteristic number 3 is balance. And I think that this one is sort of difficult because you know me, I do like intense fragrances. I like a very strong, a very impactful fragrance. But there is a line between overwhelm and impact, okay? And I think that balance has to be achieved. What I've noticed with a lot of elite fragrances is that they are not afraid to be noticeable. They're not afraid of being like we stand out and we're obvious, and perhaps we fill a room, but we're not afraid if we don't fill a room. I think that the key is that they create very balanced fragrances that settle in very naturally with who you are, with your life, and with just your body in general. And so what these fragrances do is that they settle on the skin and they sort of give you this natural aura, okay? It's more about creating this aura that lasts all day, that has impact all day, but it's not like it burns the hairs in your nose, okay? I've encountered a fragrance like that before where it's like, ugh, like it sort of burns your nasal passages. And so they aren't creating fragrances like that, okay? These wealthy or elite smelling fragrances, they do not smell like that. They have a very balanced feeling about them where it's like they are very noticeable, okay? Like you pass somebody that has a nice perfume on, it's noticeable and it's recognizable and it might turn your head, but it's not like forcing you to, right? It's not like, you're not thinking, oh my, how much, like, did you bathe in it? That's not what you're thinking. You're thinking they just smell really nice, okay? So it's very balanced, very even, and very natural on the skin. The fourth characteristic that I have noticed is depth and density, okay? And I have talked about density a lot on my channel. I've talked about depth a lot on my channel. And I think that sometimes we associate these characteristics with warm, like, oh, it has to be amber. If you're talking depth and density, then it has to be amber or it has to be vanilla. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that these fragrances smell a little bit thicker. Okay, it just smells like there's more density about them, okay? It's not like tissuey or cottony or, fluffy. It's not like that. There's density, okay? And so whether you have a fresh fragrance, a floral fragrance, an amber fragrance, spicy, woodsy, it doesn't matter. Green, it does not matter. What I've noticed about an elite smelling or a wealthy smelling perfume is that there is an element of density, okay? So you might have a super floral fragrance, but then there's a fragrance note on the bottom or in the middle that's super dense. Think maybe suede or, a thick smelling flower or a watery fragrance note, okay? So something really dense and very thick that sort of gives your mind something to chew on, okay? That's what I always say is that I need something for my mind to chew on. And so, that's sort of what you might think with a fresher fragrance. With, a warmer fragrance, it might be amber. It might be, right? It might be, once again, leather or suede, or it might be, a nutty fragrance. And so finding those fragrance notes in the perfumes, or finding those perfumes or fragrances, whatever it is, it could be in your home, finding the fragrance where it's like, this has density, okay? It feels grounded, because I think that with an elite or a wealthy smelling fragrance, there's this element of groundedness about them where it's like this quiet confidence. It's like this, sure, things might be like on fire around me, but I'm grounded, I'm controlled, I'm tempered, right? There's just this confidence, there's this ease about it where it's like, yes, it's not like I have everything under control, but I am controlled. I am in control of my feelings, I am in control of sort of my thoughts and my demeanor, and I am able to walk calmly through my life because I am controlled. There's this groundedness about these people. And a lot of times that is communicated through their fragrance, okay? You just get a vibe through their fragrance. And number 5, okay, the 5th characteristic is effortless stay power, okay? And I think that this is just this goes into what these people have time for and what they don't have time for, okay? I don't see elite people or wealthy people, going in, freshening up in the bathroom all the time. And I don't see them carrying around some perfume in their purse. They don't have time for that, okay? They are engaging, they are socializing, they are, with people. They don't have time to go and worry about what they look like or what they smell like. And so they have products that they do their job, okay? They have perfumes, they have fragrances, they have a smell that it's like, I don't need to refresh. This stays by itself. This is effortlessly staying. This effortlessly has wear time, okay? I spray it on in the morning and it lasts all day. And so I think that having that effortless stay power is crucial. And I think that this comes down to the fragrance notes and the fragrance itself. There's obviously perfumes that they last on whoever wears it. But I think that this also comes down to knowing what fragrances last really well on you. I know for a fact that there are perfumes, and there are floral perfumes in particular, that it's like, yeah, it doesn't last on me. Like, that does not last on me. But you give me an orange blossom perfume and it lasts on me. You give me an amber perfume and it lasts on me. And so finding those fragrances that they last on you as a person, and also those fragrances that they them in and of themselves, those fragrances in and of themselves, they last, okay? And so finding those fragrances that, sometimes it comes down to concentration and quality ingredients, just finding those fragrances and those products that it's like, this, I don't have to work to make this work, right? This does its job. And so that is a key element. And if you would like to figure out how I am financially planning to invest in fragrances like these wealthy or elite fragrances, then I would highly recommend you watch my video where I talk all about how I am planning to invest in my curated perfume collection.